Okay, we're going to call this the Great Reset, but it has a completely different meaning. And we're going to talk about why your body's rejecting the old world and how to reset your internal frequency. You're feeling real uncomfortable. It's different this time, isn't it? This is going deeper. You feel it? Well, I'm going to talk about not only what's going on, your feelings, and something that you absolutely must do. This is the only way into the new world, the only way. Okay, yeah, it's pretty simple. I know you can do it. I'm going to share some prophetic dreams that I've had about my own personal reality and energy field, and something I want to share with you that is global. This is important stuff. Start listening to your dreams, your intuition. They're telling you something right now. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. I'm here to help you break through the fears and recognize what we are, because you are now the co-creator. It's official. You're no longer the student. We're all learning. We're all in the teachings, but you now have to take responsibility. Or you can pretend that none of this is in your control. This is still your decision. But there is one solution, only one, to the salvation of our planet. Yes, this is a play, it's a scenario, it's a teaching planet. But don't you want to win? Don't you want to get on the leaderboard? I'm going to tell you exactly what the solution is right now. I'm going to go deep into the reset. I'm going to explain to you why conflicts are going on, what they mean, and how it's so critical for you to be on your game right now. There is only one thing that dilutes darkness, and that is light. What does that mean? If you are not shining your light, you are in the basement. The basement is separation. It is conflict. It is pointing fingers, blame, and it is not oneness. Oneness is pure light. There is only one way for us to go into a new earth, and it is to just shine your light no matter what the circumstances are. What does that mean? No matter what situation you're in, no matter what you're thinking, seeing, your reaction and action toward it is everything. Is it of a higher frequency? Is it you taking the high road of love, compassion, seeing the light in the other, and shining yours? The more people that put their lights on, the more we will see our planet light up. It's that simple. It's not the discussion or who's in office or who's doing what or what corporation or government, blah, blah, blah. Charlie Brown, wah, wah. Yeah, what are we going to do right now? We're just going to shine the light and say, talk to the hand, because I have one mission, and that is to be my absolute loving best. That's it. That solves every problem. You can say, well, should we turn a blind eye to this and that? And I no, of course not. I'm not telling you to turn a blind eye to anything. I'm telling you to shine the light. So you can see there are problems out there, and I'm going to ask you, what are you doing about it? Edgar Cayce point blank states that the prayer of one is so powerful, but 10 is enormous. Imagine 20, 30. Join my private membership. We're going to be doing that on Sundays. I hope that you join the planet in prayer every day. What is prayer? It's not something religious. It's you communicating with the one source of all things that is beautiful and perfect. You know, I don't get into religion. Religion separates people once again. We must just shine our light. Today we're going to talk about the Great Reset. It used to have a bad connotation. I'm going to go into that right now. Everyone is talking about the Great Reset of our economy, our borders, our systems, but nobody's talking about the most important reset of all, the one happening inside your nervous system. If you felt that electrical buzzing, actually one of my students did, he was saying there was like this buzzing going through. I said, it's an upgrade. The unexplained anxiety, maybe you even have it. Some of you saying, I thought we were supposed to go into a golden era. Why am I feeling not so great? The sudden urge to pull away from the conventional noise. Yeah, you feeling that? You aren't a victim of the Great Reset. You are the architect of the spiritual reset. A reset As great as it is, there's a different meaning to the one I'm going to talk about today. And the great reset that you might associate with control over others, that is the choice of darkness. That is the choice of an old world. It doesn't work very well, and you don't have to participate. There's a great reset, a spiritual one going on over here that doesn't have that meaning at all. Are you ready to go into it? Because it's happening now. So I'm going to talk about the Kabbalistic purpose of war. It's really disturbing, isn't it? How do we end this? How do we stop it? How does it ever happen in the first place? Well, there are those that actually believe that what they're doing is right. And there's some of you who might be very spiritual that think that that's right also. But war and conflict never can be right in the penthouse. Why? We don't want to live in that world, do we? How do we end it? So the Great Reset in the mainstream, it's a World Economic Forum initiative about shifting global systems. What does that mean? That's control over the people, right? The control over the material world. We're so much more powerful that you don't have to worry about that. That has no power for you in the big picture of things. You are eternal. It's the moment where humanity's will to receive, the ego that causes war and separation, finally hits a wall and is forced to reset into a will to bestow. That's unity. The trend, let's talk about the 2026. Right now, there's a massive search for timeline splitting or the two earths. This is the positive spiritual counter narrative to the Great Reset. Instead of one world being forced into a reset, right? Force, you can't force anything, right? The teaching is that we are choosing between two different timelines based on our consciousness. All right? It's yours no matter what happens out there, no matter what, you have choice. And you are beautiful and perfect, and you only have to shine that one light. And enough of us do, we will light up darkness. Darkness has no power over light. You can't bring darkness into a room of light, right? It's still light, but you can bring light into a room of darkness and it obliterates darkness. Why is there war? Let's talk about that because it doesn't seem right in a world that's transitioning into a golden era because one timeline is still operating in the old survival separation frequency, okay? That's all it is. It's been here the whole time anyways. Is this anything new? What you're noticing is there's more of a separation of those who won't tolerate it, and it feels really, really bad, right? The anxiety, even more so. Why? It shouldn't be this way. We don't want to live this way. So it's really hitting home. You aren't being reset by an elite group. You're choosing which earth you want to live on through your own frequency. Nobody can force that. Nobody has control over that. No energy field. Everyone has their own willpower, and you can make a choice no matter what anybody says or does to you. You say, my family's doing this or that. And I say, yeah, great. They're your best teachers. What are you doing? All right. You battling that? Why are you upset? Because you think they're wrong and you want them to be enlightened. That's your ego. I know we have to separate these. Like, wait a minute. No, yeah, that must be my ego. So here's the spiritual teaching today. You don't have to fight the old timeline. It's going to continue on. You just have to stop vibrating at its frequency. Let's talk about the Kabbalistic connection. This is the separation of the chaff from the wheat. The war is the friction of the old world trying to hold onto a frequency that is no longer supported by the planet. Yes, it's not. It's not working anymore. And it's going to crumble and fall apart. And no matter what is said to justify these things, we're seeing straight through it. The junk is coming to the top and everything is being revealed. Trust me, it's going to get even more intense. The reason the Great Reset feels negative is that the mainstream conversation focuses on the external control. But in the spiritual community, this is a big transition month. Ooh, wait, we've got one more day till we got the planets aligning. You're going to start to feel some stuff. There's a powerful rebrand happening. We're going to rebrand this, right? People are searching for the Great Awakening or the timeline split as the positive alternative. So what if the chaos that we see in the news isn't the end of the world, but the birth of a second one? I believe that's exactly what's going on. So I'm going to share something with you about a dream that I have. And you guys know when I have these and I tell you it's rare, but I really feel very strongly about this. Now, I talked to you about the Hopi Blue Star. Yes, I'm still going to do a video about the Hopi tablets. I'm researching all of that. But what I saw in this dream so clearly, it was dark. Everybody was out. In fact, we were out celebrating. I'm not sure what, but there were fireworks that went off. And the fireworks at one point stood still and they stayed there in a position and they formed into a star. And then it became real. It was huge and it was blue. All right. Yeah, I've been talking about it. Maybe it's on my mind. Sure, there's some of that going on, but I think it's really interesting that I had a dream like that. And then I saw more stars sparkling above my head. And I looked up and I realized it was forming an angel. And this huge angel flew across the sky, across the people. And we were just gazing at this amazing spectacle of greatness. I believe it is a sign. Now, I'm going to tell you what you need to start paying attention to if you truly want to get the answers from yourself, which they exist there, not from a tarot card reader or a channeler or anything else. Let's go in here first and use everything as a secondary tool. What do you want to pay attention to are your dreams. If you feel in those dreams that you're still going and you're feeling hopeful about these things, that is the indication that you are absolutely going to co-creation of a new earth. That means that you know that is a long journey, that it's going to be a tough one, but you're going to have the energy to get there. So we're not just watching a political shift in March here. We're witnessing a timeline split. While one part of humanity is doubling down on the old survival tactics of war and separation, another part is quietly stepping into a new frequency. It's beautiful and it's painful and it's crazy. But today I'm going to show you why the Great Reset cannot touch you if you choose the right timeline and how to tell which earth you're currently standing on. So they're going to be conventional leaders. They are the anchors of the old world. They don't just disappear, go away. They're not making the choice to go into the new earth. They're happy. They're playing out a role, but we must shine our light. That's the only way we can change and allow them to make higher decisions. Okay. Just like you don't want them to push their beliefs on you and force you, which is the old Great Reset that we talked about. We must not do that to others. All right. That old ego-driven frequency adheres to separation because that's the only tool that works on the old earth timeline. You don't have to fight them. You have to outgrow them. When you shift your internal frequency from the fear and defenses to unity and bestowal, you literally become invisible to the conflict of the old timeline. So let's talk about why we battle. In Kabbalah, our natural state is the will to receive for ourselves alone. This naturally leads to conflict because when two people want the same thing for themselves, they must fight. In a material world, there are limitations. When you go into the high spiritual frequency, there are no limitations. You can heal. Abundance flows to you in the most unexpected ways. A joy in relationships. Relationships get healed mostly because you've let go all the barriers and the beliefs and the conflict that you have inside yourself about how it should be. So we must work on that first. This naturally leads to conflict when two people want the same thing, right? There is no one thing. There is endless opportunities for you. And the teachings here are what allow you to go to the higher frequency. So every time you get challenged or somebody says something and you get your old, panties in a bunch, there you go. Welcome it. Congratulations. How are you going to handle that? Are you still hanging on to ego, right and wrong? That's when you'll know if you're stepping into the new earth and the new timeline. The conventional tactic is us versus them. And that isn't just about countries. It's about everyday life. It's about neighbors. It's about every relationship. It's about religions. And this must end. Drop the beliefs and the attachment to anything because everybody's right. It's all a choice. It's the old earth operating system. It relies on the biological instinct to protect its own vessel at the expense of others. Moving from receiving to bestowing, how do you do it? To jump into the new timeline, you must shift from what can I get to what can I give? And a lot of you are thinking, I don't have anything to give. Well, that thought alone creates lack. When you go into the thought that I have plenty to give, and maybe metaphysically can't always do everything, you do have plenty to give. The universe always says yes. Listen, I've had students that one of them won the lottery 3 times. Yeah, no kidding. One was over $1 million. How does that happen? 3 times he was written in the newspaper. There are ways to do that, and this is it. I have. What can I give? Because I'm abundant. And no matter where you are, you always have something to give, even if it's your physical help, your love, your assistance in any way. When you act with altruism, the will to bestow, you literally move into a different frequency. You become invisible to the chaos of the old timeline because you no longer resonate with its fear. The miracles Cayce spoke of aren't magical events in the sky. They're the moments when a person chooses unity over separation. 2026 is the year the rubber meets the road. The pressure of the Great Reset is actually the universe way of pushing us to choose the higher timeline. We asked for this. Why is this happening? We asked for it. We're ready to go to the next level. And so therefore this must happen. It's just part of it. Accept it. This is the biggest challenge of your life. But once you go into the new timeline, you realize it's actually quite simple because you have no attachment to the belief or the right or the wrong or pointing fingers or anger. I hear some anger out there, and I send you light and love because when you go into that space and you shine your light, it's so beautiful. It's beyond comprehension. Dolores Cannon said that. It's beyond anybody's imagination. The Great Reset is for those who stay in the old timeline. For those who choose the split, it's a great beginning. Your power isn't in fighting the old system. Don't fight the old system. It's in becoming a version of yourself that the old system doesn't recognize. You become the new system. So when I take you into the Conscious Creator Vault, you guys want to come into that, it's amazing. I help you transform into that new person. You won't even recognize yourself. You're no longer attached to those names and habits on I'm this and this is what I was or who you can become anything. And this is happening now. So in the Kabbalah, the correction, Tikkun, isn't about fixing the world. It's about fixing the intention behind our actions. Okay. Here's a little bit of a deep dive. The nature of the vessel. Every human being is essentially a vessel designed to receive pleasure. In the old timeline, our vessels are shattered, a shattering of the vessels. We believe that to feel full, we must take from others, defend our borders, and win the battle. This is the root of all war. And because we're receiving only for ourselves, the light, fulfillment, extinguishes the moment it enters the vessel. It's dark in there. This is why humanity is in a constant state of hunger and struggle. Nothing is ever enough. And somebody said, why don't you just manifest $1 billion? I said, what makes you think I want that money? Money doesn't solve problems. Abundance is here for everyone. And going to the material world to make you happy isn't what solves problems. But when you're happy and you go into at least the love that I speak of, all those things will show up. Why? Because they're no longer attached to it. They're no longer what you're about. And then you are in a space that is unlimited source, bestowing everything on you because it doesn't judge. Just as easy to create a castle as a button. You've heard me say that before. We're going to jump to the new timeline. We have to build what Kabbalists call a screen. A screen is the internal strength to say, I will not receive this for my own ego. All right? The pivot, when you stop reacting to the old world news, the political anger, or the tribal fear, you're building your screen. You're refusing to let the chaotic frequency of the old earth enter your vessel. So you're going to have to pull that screen because you're saying, I will not receive this for my own ego, to be right, or to argue, or to prove somebody wrong. That's ego, right? That's the taking sides. There's always a possibility of everything. There's always a probability right now that things could end overnight. I don't count on it, but it's always a probability. That's what I want to focus on, the higher one. This is a March miracle, as I spoke of. When you perform an act of bestowal, giving or acting for the benefit of the whole without an ego-driven motive, you change the nature of your vessel. The result, instead of a cup that just holds water, you become a conduit. The light flows through you to others. This creates a circuit of light that never extinguishes. That's what you're built of anyways. The timeline jump on the New Earth timeline, the great reset is irrelevant because you're no longer a consumer of the old system sphere. So be careful of what you consume. The media, the physical world, what you're purchasing. Yes, if you consume and you entangle with that, then you are still in the old timeline. You're creator of the new system's harmony when you are no longer a consumer of the old system's fear. We see leaders adhering to conventional tactics of separation, old timeline. But you're being called to a different great reset. Your battle isn't against a political figure or a global agenda. Your battle is the internal shift from what's in it for me to how can I best serve the whole. Okay? You are literally standing on a different version of the earth when you do that. It's no longer the same. Your energy field and everything around you will react. And you talk about law of attraction. You are now in the frequency of the highest. And that is what you'll experience and feel. And you'll know it. I call it the knowing. And yes, you will still be in a world that is of pain, but you will be shining the light. The war continues for those who need the lesson of separation, right? It's going to. But for you, the lesson has been learned. You have moved from the will to receive to the will to bestow. Are you ready for that? That is the new timeline. And the great reset has no effect on you. It's the great spiritual reset that we must focus on. What are your intentions behind everything? If you have one, it's an ego-driven base foundation, and you will remain in that old world and you will continue to struggle and you'll wonder why. Release it all, my friend. I want to invite you to my private membership on my channel. We are meeting every Sunday. You get all my videos in advance. They don't have commercials and ads in them. I also want to pull in the Conscious Creator Vault, and that is launching this month. And that is what's going to take you through soul alignment, chic sustainability, how to live it, stop consuming that old world, and conscious contribution. How do you earn? How do you contribute to the world in a way that's beautiful, that doesn't drain you? You're going to be rejuvenated. You're going to have energy that you never imagined possible. My friend, this is our time, and it's beautiful and it's painful. And sometimes I sit and think, take it in, Landria, because you'll never experience this again. This is the teaching. Don't fear it. We don't have to completely embrace it, but embrace the teachings within it. Embrace the progress that you're making. I hope to see you in that new world. Your DNA reset is happening. You're getting an upgrade. And if you're having physical symptoms, I take naps and I have amazing dreams. Start listening to that intuition and know that everything is within you. Hold it. You lack absolutely nothing, my friend. Please share my videos, subscribe, ring that bell, give me a thumbs up, and YouTube will say, yes, this is what the public wants to hear. Non-fear-based, non-sensationalism, conspiracy. Are you done with that? It's tough to shut it down. It's pretty fascinating. It's like watching a train wreck, but I know you can do it, because when you see what will replace that in this new timeline, you'll wonder why you were ever attracted to that in the first place, because you are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. You are beautiful. Sending you my love. Namaste.